All right, this is my Arcade1up pinball cabinet that I've modded pretty heavily with a PC inside, larger playfield, backglass display, replace DMD to all run primarily visual pinball, although I do actually run Pinball FX3 just for one table that my son really likes, which is Portal. So I'm going to walk through this. It's been over a year since I did most of this, so I'll try and remember things to point out as I go through. I had it open to do one mod to it today, which is adding this braided copper, touching basically all the metal that I could on the cabinet because I've been having problems with static electricity. It's really cold and dry where I live this time of year, and I've been having problems where if I walk across the room and touch the cabinet and it's on, I'm getting a static shock, and I hear my KL25Z disconnect from my computer and sometimes reconnect, sometimes not, just because that's the easiest path to ground, and I don't want to kill that board. So what I've added today is this copper braid. So it's it's attached to my PC power supply, which is way back here. It's just screwed in. You can kind of see it in the upper right there. So it's screwed in there, and that PC power supply is that connects to the AC ground. So I double checked with a multimeter, and it connects to the ground pin on the power plug, so I know that's grounded once it's plugged in. And then it goes behind that power supply and comes down alongside the leg, and is attached to one of the screws for the mounting plates that the leg's attached to on the inside here. And then it's stapled along, attaches the mounting plate of the next leg, the third leg over there, and then attaches to the fourth leg and goes up, back into the cabinet, at which point it comes up in the corner here, goes down the edge and doubles back, just to touch the metal side rail, and also kind of bunched up here to touch the bang bar across there. It then is screwed into the screws that hold on the coin door there, basically. Loops underneath the barrel of the plunger, comes up back over this side. That way it's touching the plunger, so that's also grounded, and then runs up the side for the other side rail. And so hopefully that will solve my static electricity issues, and when I touch it, if I get a shock, it won't be going through the KL25Z. So just going over that first, since that was fresh in my mind. The things I've done in this cabinet, a simple thing, there's a 3D print you can print out on Thingiverse to add a cup holder, which is nice to have. I replaced the buttons, so the launch button with this lighted launch ball button. It's this bigger, it's nice. There's coin and start buttons that also light up. I didn't add extra buttons down the side like some people do. Instead, I'm relying on the Pinscape software to set one button to be a shift button. So the launch button is shift. So that allows me to do all the navigation I need to do in the software. So when I'm in a pinball game, if I want to exit, I hold the launch button and press the add coin button. If I want to open up the menu that you'd get by pressing F12 in Visual Pinball, that's launch ball and start, and those kind of things to make that all work. I've added, the only buttons I really did add were magna saves on either side. The flipper buttons and magna saves are replaced with these switches. which are pretty nice. They feel more like a real pinball machine. I moved the solenoids for the flippers. They're kind of right under here now. They're right under the buttons. The stock solenoids for the bumpers are still here. In the center here is a shaker motor from Cleveland Software Design. The power from the stock power supply is going into these power blocks. That powers everything in the cabinet that's 12 volts, including the shaker motor, the solenoids, and the LED buttons that I have are 12 volt as well. The solenoids and the buttons all go through this Sainsmart USB relay. Works great for the solenoids. For the buttons, it makes kind of a clicking sound that would be nice to not have. You can use MOSFETs instead to get rid of that, but I really didn't have any room for them. This controller board is for the shaker motor. And then in the front is the KL25Z. The wiring is pretty messy. It kind of just organically happened and works, so I have not touched it to clean it up. The Sainsmart and the KL25Z have 3D printed frames under them to mount them. In the center here, I put a 120 millimeter case fan. It's a Noctura. I don't know how you pronounce that exactly, but I wanted that for a pretty quiet fan. I got these black metal grills for it, so that obviously wires wouldn't go into the fan blades, and those are pretty cheap on Amazon. I have one on the outside as well, just to make it look nice and clean. It has a Y splitter on that fan, as well as a quiet cable as well, or low noise adapter, just to keep the noise down. And that's an intake. At the back of the cabinet, there's a 140 millimeter case fan that is an exhaust. And it's done a great job for keeping everything nice and cool. The PC in here is actually my old desktop motherboard. It gave me an excuse to upgrade that because I was kind of thinking about it for a couple of years. So that motherboard's in here. Again, one of those Noctura CPU heat sinks and fans to keep things nice and cool, but also quiet. The motherboard is mounted to the cabinet with a 3D printed frame. That one is it's a kind of a modular frame, so you print it out in pieces depending what size you need, and then it screws together. So that was nice to add. The video card I picked up specifically for the pinball machine. I forget exactly what GeForce RTX card it is, but I can put that in my notes with this video. But it's worked great and drives the 3 screens. The playfield screen is a Amazon renewed 32-inch screen that I got. It's 165 hertz and supports NVIDIA G-Sync, which works great with the video card. So your frame rate ends up matching, the hertz of the screen, the playfield screen, match what your frame rate is. So if your frame rate drops below 165, you don't get any kind of like tearing or sync issues. So it still looks great. Obviously, the higher frame rate, the better. But if it drops down, you don't really notice it very much. Let's see what else. In the back, there's it's kind of hard to see in the back right over there. That's an IoT power relay. So those have 4 ports on them. They have one port that is always on, one port that is and these are for plugging in AC power cords. So there's one plug that is always on, one plug that is normally on, and 2 ports that are normally off. And the way it works is you connect a pair of wires to it, and if those have power, it will swap the ports. So the ports that are normally off become on, the port that is normally on becomes off. And the way that's working is I have the mostly stock volume and power switches here from the Arcade1up. The power one is actually replaced with a momentary switch that only goes in one direction, so it snaps back over. I originally used the one that came with it, but it was kind of sketchy in that you always had to make sure it was all the way back off to power, or else it could hold in the power button and cause your computer to restart. I got these on eBay. They look just like the Arcade1up ones. Obviously the white plastic fits over them okay. But instead of being a toggle where they could go 2 ways, their toggle just goes 1 way, but it's still a momentary switch and then it snaps back on its own. So that's hooked up with some custom wires I made down here. Runs along this side up to the headers on the motherboard for the power switch. And then I have another cable. You can see the kind of red and black wires in the corner there. Those connect to the power LED header pins on the motherboard and go over to that IoT power relay. So when you turn on the power to the motherboard, that power LED comes on, which gives power to those wires going to the IT relay, and then that powers the 2 ports that are normally off, which is the Backglass monitor and the stock power supply that powers the shaker motor and the solenoids and all that stuff. The playfield monitor is plugged into power separately. It's always on. It just goes to sleep when the pinball machine's off, just because I couldn't fit it with everything inside. We'll also say the playfield monitor, so I mounted it on top of the stock frame, so you can kind of still open it like the hood of a car, which is nice. I designed and 3D printed the 2 brackets there. Those connect to the VESA mounts on the monitor, and then they screw into the holes from the stock screen. It had these little like metal arms that were kind of sticking off the side to hold the stock screen. So you take those out and those screw in. Obviously this is pretty specific to this monitor. If the VESA mount wasn't exactly this place, these wouldn't work. But they're on Thingiverse, so it can be a starting point for somebody else. So I did that so that the monitor is in exactly the right place when I put it back down. At first it didn't have them, and if I opened it up, the monitor would slide forwards or backwards and get kind of out of place and it would take some finagling to get back in the right place. Let's see. The fan I cut with a hole saw that was 120 millimeters. The back one, it's connected to the piece that had kind of the vents anyway in the back. So I took that out and I used a printed template to mark the hole with a drill center punch tool. Just kind of, I made a dotted set of punches all around using that template, and then I cut them out with a jigsaw, basically. Also, I added this power port here. So the IoT relay on the inside connects to that, and then you've got your own physical switch on the outside to toggle the power on and off, and just a regular power cord there. I also cut this small hole, which the Ethernet cable comes out of, and one other cord that I am, oh, that's the actual, that's the playfield monitor. I couldn't remember what that was at first. Backglass monitor is the, I think it's 21.5-inch Acer that everybody kind of uses with these pinballs that Cool Toys showed off early on. I had a lot of problems where it wasn't a tight enough fit, and even with adhesive tape and things, it would fall forward. So I don't want to take apart the back box to show this, but the stand that comes with the monitor, it clips into the back of the monitor and then sits in the round stand to stand it up. The part that clips into the monitor, if you take apart that piece of the stand, there's a metal L bracket that is the piece that actually clips into the monitor. And that happens to where that angles out and flattens out is pretty much right level with the bottom of the monitor. So I took that out of the stand. I drilled a hole through the center of the metal, clipped that into the monitor, put the monitor in the back box, and then screwed a screw through that into the floor of the back box on the inside. So that's what holds that in there. It's worked great. Even with a fairly furious shaker motor at times, it doesn't come loose. The Acer logo and the bottom of the monitor is covered with this chrome stripping. You can get it, I think it's listed as like automotive chrome stripping. And you can cut it with an X-Acto knife. Someone actually sent that to me. I can't remember their name offhand, but they had some extras that they had cut and were just giving them away. So they sent one my way for shipping, so it worked great. The DMD is not a stock DMD either. That is, I'll link the specific things in comments, but it's another 8-inch screen with much better contrast and colors and higher resolution than the stock one. It's offset a little differently than the stock one is, so I made a different frame for that. You can find that on Thingiverse as well. The audio through it, the stock DMD uses the audio over HDMI to get the audio to the speakers. It doesn't work right on this screen, unfortunately. It was underpowered. I think the speakers are actually reversed too, but the volume was really bad, and it just didn't work very well. So instead, I switched to using my regular sound card, and that runs up and into the back box, and it goes into a small amplifier that I also have linked in Thingiverse with a mount for it and things. Oh, and there's a bracket to mount this in that's 3D printed as well. That's on Thingiverse. And that works really well, so that's what drives those two speakers for sound. Aside from that, I'm sure there are things I'm forgetting, and people can ask questions, of course. I do things that I wish I had known ahead of time. I probably would have dropped the floor of this to give myself more room. You can disconnect things and kind of sit this down on top of the legs. I fooled around with getting everything to fit. The location of the computer is the motherboard and everything is pretty important, so that there's enough room for like the display port cord to not bump into the video card and things like that. And I got it working, so I'm not going to go back and change anything now. And it's nice that it's all screwed in. I can take off the legs. Nothing's going to like fall out or anything if I needed to. But that is probably something I would have done. I also would have done the grounding copper braid, and probably done that pretty differently if I did it when the cabinet was empty to begin with. But I think I've got a decent way of doing it that should work after everything was in here. So like I said, if you have any questions about anything in detail or specifics about anything, let me know, and I'll take a little video once I put this back together. Oh, that is one thing. So putting down the playfield monitor here. I'll lower it in. Once this is down, I need to clean it off because my cat likes sleeping on the pinball machine and leaving her fur all over it. But once I do that, I have these little shelf supports, and I drilled holes, 4 holes. So these are what supports the playfield glass. So you pop those in there. You have to just take those out when you're lifting up the screen, of course. So I'll clean this up. I'll put the playfield back on. Playfield glass back on and the side rails and everything, and I'll take another video in a little bit of how it all works. As I close this up, I'm realizing one thing I forgot to point out that's really important. At the back, right here, you can kind of see it because I painted it black. There's a 1 inch by 1 inch square piece of wood that's 1 millimeter longer than the width of the playfield monitor. So there's one of those wedged up there, and there's another one along the front here. It also has a piece of black cardboard over it to kind of fill in the gap so you can't see inside the cabinet if you're looking at it at an angle when the rails are on. But those are to take pressure off of the playfield monitor. The screws are loosened up on the cabinet. Those are put in, and then the screws are tightened back up. Because even with the screws left loose, it was still putting too much pressure on the monitor, and it was causing it to bow and things. So putting those in there lets it move up and down easily on the hinges to get in there, and worries me a lot less about breaking this monitor. All right, now that the playfield glass is back in, just wanted to show the new grounding braid with my lovely assistant. That it is showing continuity between all the metal pieces. So we'll just kind of one end of the multimeter on the ground pin of the power, and any place we touch, the plunger, all the legs, and all the rails are now grounded out through the AC ground. So hopefully we won't be damaging the KL25Z next time we get a static discharge when we cross through. A couple more things I realized I should have mentioned with the mods to this pinball machine. One, underneath the cabinet here, we've got a couple of USB ports. I'm using those for booting from a USB drive to do backups and things like that. And then the second USB port is for backing up to an external drive. And the other thing is there's a dongle inside the pinball cabinet, put in a USB port for this little keyboard and trackpad combination. It's super small and easy to use to navigate the operating system if I need to do anything like that. All right, so now let's look at some gameplay and how the virtual pinball table actually works. So I have the stock power button is sort of stock. It's still got the original like white plastic there. The switch inside, I switched it out for one that's almost the same as the stock one, but rather than being a two-way like toggle momentary switch, it's only a one-way. So basically it stays in the left. You can push to the right, that activates the button, and it pops back over to the left. I did that because I was having problems where the momentary switch in between, it's just connected to the power switch of the motherboard. Turning it on would turn on the motherboard, turning it off wouldn't do anything, but being in the center, sometimes it would kind of stick on the on and it would cause the computer to turn off. It was just easier to replace it with this, and it was something like $5 for 5 of them off of eBay or something like that. So I'll try and find those and link to them. So turning the switch on is going to turn on the power switch for the motherboard. That is going to turn on the power LED on the motherboard, which is connected to the IoT relay and causes the rest of the devices to power on. So do that and have it boot up. The add coin LED button is just wired to always be lit up. whereas the start and launch buttons light up as part of DOF events, depending what the table does. So table, if you put in credits and the table then lights up the start button, it'll light that up correctly, or if there's a ball to launch, it'll light up the launch button. This is running Windows Spectre, which is a Windows 10 version that's kind of stripped down, doesn't get updated and things like that. Works pretty well for pinball. It's all set up. The screens always come up in the same order. I haven't had problems with that. And it's set to automatically start Pinup Popper. Pinup Popper, I have some dynamic playlists set up to kind of organize my pinball table as well. I think if I go in here in all tables, so there's currently 80 tables on this right now. I try and keep it just to tables that work really well, so there's not like cruft in the table. So there's the all tables, obviously shows everything. I have Christmas pinball tables, so Christmas themed ones like Charlie Brown Christmas, Die Hard, obviously, Nightmare Before Christmas, and The Grinch are in there. These dynamic playlists are set up via SQL queries in Pinup Popper, and they're just pulling words out of tags that are set on the tables, and I do that via VPN Studio, so it's kind of easy to just add a tag to a table if I want it to show up in a category, and then a table can show up in multiple playlists. I have classics, Halloween themed tables, movie themed tables, music, band tables, tables from about TV shows or TV show themed, and then it's broken up by decade as well, so you can find tables that way. You can also find tables by manufacturer, so if there's a Gottlieb table you really like, you can find it that way. Random tables is set to just show 3 random tables every time you open it. That's kind of handy if you don't really know what you want to look for, what you want to play rather. Sometimes something will catch your eye. So let's go ahead and play one of the tables. This is Lord of the Rings. Whenever I can, because of the aspect ratio and resolution of the DMD screen I have, I use the full DMD backglass variants. So the DMD is kind of that, and you've got more artwork and things. But it also works really well for any tables that show video and things like that.
Three rings for the elven kings.
So the sound works pretty well.
Under the sky. 7
That's going through a small $25 amplifier I have in the back, and is connected to the stock onboard sound card of the motherboard.
9 for mortal
and using the stock speakers.
doomed to die.
So let's add
1
some credits.
for the Dark Lord.
Start. See if we can see in the video, but all the nudging is there. I could really nudge it
Dangerous such behavior.
and get a tilt warning. Plunger, an analog plunger. The stock solenoids fire for the flippers, as well as bumpers at the top. Also the shaker motor. 32-inch screen at 165 hertz. Ball movements really realistic at that refresh rate. Alright, so let's jump to another table that uses some different features. Let's see, go to TV tables. Oh, and I should say, so I have my launch button set as the shift, so I can press that and add coin to exit a table. It sends an escape. I also have it to where launch button and start opens up the visual pinball menu if I want to change some things. And then I have magna save buttons to go through those options. So the DMD looks really good for these kind of games, of course. This one uses launch button. You can see they're blinking based on DOF. Oh, this one doesn't use launch button actually. But it blinks the launch button when the ball is ready to be launched. Here's the menu. You can go through the different VPX options in here. Magna save moves down or up in the options to change things. Start saves the settings. Launch resets things. Launch and start closes it again. Back out of this table. See what other tables are good to show off here. Creature from the Black Lagoon is great. A lot of the tables that I have are the cabinet mods that someone named LoadedWeapon posts. A lot of his patches are on VP Universe. Others are on his own Discord if he hasn't like fully released them yet. But he does a lot for the side blades to make sure they're extended all the way up and have nice artwork and things so they look good inside your cabinet, as opposed to running it in like desktop mode or VR mode or something where you might not care as much. He does a lot of playing with the lights to make them look nice, so they're great to get.
Thank you.
And now on the show.
And they're using alt colors whenever Serum alt colors are available. Those are great to use. Oh, getting the move your car sequence here. I have 2 more. 1 more. Missed it that time. Consistently hitting the wrong ramp. There we go. Now you can move your car. So you need to hit that same shot in the right amount of time to continue it. I've had this happen in Black Lagoon where it's bouncing between the slingshots. You can get it off by nudging. Of course, now I'm too late to hit that shot for a movie car. guess not this time. All right, let's see. What else is good to show? I think the last Starfighter table was pretty cool. It was never a real table, but somebody made it in the spirit of a 1980s table. And they took the like the video game footage from the movie, put that on the DMD, and it gets triggered by DOF events.
Starfighter. I hear good things about you.
Ready to invade.
If you appreciated the movie, at least, it's kind of fun. Explosions on the playfield when you drain a ball are funny.
Find a kid, drag him up there, and he doesn't want to be a star. I give up.
All communication and radar systems are out, and Commander.
Hey, Alex, fire! Gone from our station. Alert wing commanders.
This table gives you 5 balls. It is pretty easy to lose balls in this one.
Communications are at destroyed.
Gone from our station. Alert wing commanders.
Last ball.
Lead your target. More than subject to rules, you're even on Rylos.
I should say everything's running on Visual Pinball 10.8 64-bit OpenGL. Another fun table I should jump to is classic category. Bride of Pinbot. This is one of the LoadedWeapon mods for the side blades and lights and everything. And this also has the altsound to replace the sounds to a System Shock theme if you ever played those first-person shooter games. Kind of makes the Bride of Pinbot be Shodan, which is pretty fun.
You will fail. Who goes there? Are you one of us? Area secure. Intruder.
I don't know.
I hear. I obey.
You seem to have suffered a minor malfunction. Your performance seems non-optimal.
I love the maintenance box quotes.
If you don't have clearance, die. Returning fire.
I get some Shodan voiceovers.
Returning fire. Taking Descending. I will kill today.
If I have to release my infected children to stop you, so be it.
I should also say the volume switch still works. That's connected to the KL25Z, so that just sends the keyboard commands for volume up and down.
You will be found. Access granted. I will kill today. Everything nominal.
I'm sure this is just what you were looking for.
Funny quote for an extra ball.
Make yourself comfortable, Hacker. Stay a while.
It's probably one of the best alt sounds I've come across. They seem a lot of fun. This is kind of a fun one to play the games that were stock, some of the stock games, I should say, on the Attack from Mars Arcade1up pinball table, just to kind of compare how good they can be in visual pinball compared to the pinball effects stuff that was on the Arcade1up table. So obviously we've got like Backglass for Arabian Nights, full DMD. There's the altcolor, so the DMD is colored, and the playfield looks great.
In ancient Baghdad, the most beautiful princess was
I think this is a Serum altcolor. Any case though, it was really well done. This is my skill shot. This table uses the shaker more. Hit the genie.
Tale of the flying horse.
At some point I might go into my UF config and change the intensity of the shaker because it's a little high for some tables, especially if it's sustained on for a while. Oh jeez. Ball saved. Games that have backglasses that are really tied into table events are cool too, the way it flashes through the lightning and stuff. When in doubt, if you have a choice on backglass, the person Haunt Freaks makes a lot of really good ones on VP Universe. And he does a lot of the full DMD variants too, which work really well if you swapped out the DMD on this table. Fireball now. Banish the key. Jump out to another table here. Medieval Madness is another good one to try. That was the stock table. This one's pretty cool. So Gottlieb's Haunted House. This is cool because you have kind of multiple levels of playfields if you haven't played a table like that before. So there's the upstairs, there's like the main haunted house, and then there's the cellar. But when you're in the upstairs or the cellar also is kind of upside down. But the flippers use the magna save buttons, so if you have those on your table, this is a really fun one to play. Turn down the volume a little bit because the sounds on this one. Okay, we're going upstairs, so now I'm using the magna save flipper buttons. Now we're downstairs. Again, using the magna save flipper buttons and upside down. Now we're coming up to the main level. We have 4 flippers up here, and they all use the regular flipper buttons. This one is a good one for nudging too. Try and nudge the ball into the upstairs or. Oh no! Didn't stand and sell it very long. So I have to kind of quickly switch between the buttons when you're in between levels in the playfields. That's a fun one to try out when you add the extra buttons. Diner's kind of a fun table. Circus Voltaire is a fun table as well. Black Knight. Big Bang. That one. That might be a Loaded Weapon cabinet mod too, I don't remember. Bad Cats is definitely fun. Attack from Mars. Another one with a Serum altcolor by Kraken, I think. I did a great job on that. The table itself is one of the cabinet mods by Loaded Weapon. Some great side blades and lighting and everything. Obviously the backglass looks super cool compared to like the static backglass that the Attack from Mars Arcade1up pinball table had. So I guess we should play that just to show it. Attack from Mars is a really fun table and really accessible for folks too.
This is an emergency broadcast. The Earth is being invaded by flying monsters from Mars.
This one makes really good use of the shaker, of course, when you hit the UFO. You can't always have your worst games if you're trying to demo some things. Let me try that one more time just to show show the shaker. Not sure how much you can really see it versus feel it though, so we'll see. How it comes out on video. The shaker's a Cleveland software design. And it's mechanically turned down as low as it will go and still work. And that's more than strong enough for the size table. Jeez. We're looking for tables for visual pinball, at least right now. Stuff with NFOSI physics generally feels and plays very realistically.
Mamma mia! The Martians are created in the Tower of Pisa!
There we go.
Monster, you face, you ugly monster! We must build an atomic blaster!
Just like one good shake whenever you hit the UFO, and then if you destroy it, it shakes quite a bit more.
Blow the saucer out of the sky!
Alright, let's jump to another table. Let's see, what else should we show? Just go to all tables for the moment. Back to the Future is pretty cool. It's I believe this backglass is by Hunt Freaks as well, and the full DMD with all the dates from the DeLorean is pretty neat too. Beavis and Butthead original pinball table is pretty well done. I do have a couple of problems with it related to DOF and when it fires solenoids. That'd be good to figure out. Black Hole is another one of Gottlieb's multiple playfield tables. It has a black hole down there underneath, which is upside down, and it uses the extra magna flippers. Let's see. Futurama table is another one that uses the full DMD for video, of course. Harry Potter's a good one too. This is another one that uses PUP packs, which are like video packs that get triggered by table events. A lot that are reproductions of real pinball machines will show their video on the DMD. Ones like this that are just original tables. This one shows a lot of the video on the Backglass as well. This is a little older table, but it still works really well. And this one, I believe, is another LoadedWeapon cabinet mod. Make it look a little better on cabinets.
What do you suggest, Minerva?
Put an end to it.
This one uses the shaker quite a bit too when you hit the captive ball there by the dragon. Like Mad Eye Moody's eye kind of watching your ball the whole time.
Brilliant. That makes me feel loads better.
depressed.
Dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon, we must all face the choice between what is right.
Make sure your haunted house. Scared Stiff is a lot of fun. So the cabinet mod. Simpsons Pinball Party. Definitely fun as well. Not to sound like a broken record, but I'm pretty sure this one is a Loaded Weapon cabinet mod as well, because the side blades look great. And, also using his point of view files, which are good to get the scaling and perspective and everything right in a cabinet. They really help it. Right. This is a new one, Space Cadet, or JP's Space Cadet Galaxy Edition. Just came out recently. Kind of rethemes JP's table with a new look and different missions and everything, and uses a PUP pack for the full DMD. It has a few more things that need to be worked out in a new release, but it's a good one to check out. It's a lot of fun. Multiplayer has some bugs right now and some DOF issues that need to be fixed. Alright, so Star Trek The Next Generation. I like this table just because I've played this table maybe, I've played like 3 or 4 different physical versions of this table over the years. An office I worked at used to have one. And every one I've played has been broken in some way. Either like the probe launchers are broken, or just different shots are all messed up. And playing the visual pinball one is probably the only time I've played it how it was intended to be played, which is kind of funny. So it's sort of satisfying to actually play it and have everything work. having the probe launchers work is just like a huge novelty. This is another one using LoadedWeapon's point of view ini file and side blades and lights and everything. Looks really good. All of those cabinet mods really just add a lot when you're playing with a cabinet. This is another really well done altcolor, and I think it's a pretty new Serum one. There are some older ones, but this one looks even better. And another Backglass and full DMD by Hump Freaks. So you can see the pattern here. Goonies is kind of a fun original table with pup pack as well. I don't really like pup packs on any, reproductions of tables that didn't have video to begin with, but
never say that. Goonies never say die.
When the tables originally made to have them, they work really well. I just thought of one that's worth showing too.
They're chasing 4-wheel deals, real neat oars. And they're both flying all over the place. It's the most amazing thing I ever saw.
So I mentioned I generally don't like pup packs on tables that are reproductions that didn't really have didn't have video on them to begin with. So one is Tron. There is a pretty good pup pack for it if you like them, by someone named Terry Red. What I ended up doing, I'd rather have the backglass and not the video. I find it kind of distracting, but the audio was so much better in the pup pack. I have just reconfigured the pup pack to only play the audio and I'm using a muted ROM for the table. So all the audio is the like kind of higher quality stuff from the PUP pack.
The grid.
The altcolor is another Serum one that's pretty recent. It's great.
Digital frontier.
Shaker feels great on this table as well.
I tried to picture clusters of information as they move through the computer. You're not the one who's anything with him.
Next event.
Game over.
Yeah, so if you play this game with the regular ROM sounds and then play it doing this, you hear a huge difference between the two. But the audio clips are still the same. They didn't like change words or anything like that, or change which clips played. This one's worth showing too. This is Dunnit, but it's the mod of that. That's a Williams table, or a real Williams table. But this is a mod of it to the 1947 version, so it's all mostly black and white, and has an alt sound to play music that's more from that era, and it's a lot of fun. And this is just a really neat table in that you're like playing out a murder mystery. So every time you play, somebody is murdered, one of these characters, and one of them is the murderer, and you have to kind of figure out which is which by interrogating people, basically interviewing them, and then making guesses as to who committed the crime. And then you have to catch them once you guess correctly by shooting the correct ramps and everything.
And then I was on the case.
I find it comically hard sometimes to hit the telephone when it's ringing in this game too, which is how you rotate it.
Tell me more about Tex.
One night we got really drunk and got matching tattoos.
So I think that was Butler maybe, and I think Tex is the nickname for Tony maybe. So it's one of those two. Victoria's portrait is solid, being she was the one who was murdered. a whodunit.
Oh, that cab. You could use that. Take a cab. A taxi.
Oh, jeez.
Don't give up now.
For these games where you can buy an extra ball, you have to edit the script file in Visual Pinball. I can maybe post some information about that if people want to know. But I mapped it to my right magna save button, so I can buy in an extra ball by pressing that if I want to. But it doesn't change the magna save. The magna save still works like it normally would as well. It's like the sometimes that's happened too, where Pinup Popper kind of loses most of its displays until I go into a game and back out of them. Total Nuclear Annihilation is another cool one. Uses the full DMD for some video. It's a fun table to play with multiple people because it has a co-op mode. So if you hold the start button when you're adding players, when you're adding the first player, then you add multiple players and you're in co-op mode. And you're kind of working towards the same objectives, but you're each taking turns, of course. There we go, add a second player. So you're working to like activate and overload these nuclear reactors, and there's 9 of them you eventually have to overheat and destroy. So that's pretty fun with multiple people to work towards that. This uses the shaker too when the reactors overheat. My cat likes laying in the pinball machine when the shaker's going during that. It makes it really hard to play. Look at the countdown for the ball saves too. This table has original music that was made for it, and the music you do have to purchase from the artist. It's in the instructions where to get it, and you just kind of drop it in place. So let's hit this target one more time. I hit this target once more to then be able to start the reactor by hitting the scoop And then you overheat the reactor by getting the ball in the top field, and you have an extra flipper up there too. Alright, now I need to hit the scoop. So it's not, now this is player 2, but because player 1 completed the grid of the targets, player 2 can just hit the scoop. That's how the co-op mode works. Alright, so that's going to start the reactor. Now we need to get the ball up in here to overheat the reactor. There we go. You can use the flipper to kind of keep it up there. Oh, it's close. 95. Okay, reactor's critical. Now we need to hit one of these destroys that's flashing. That one up there. Oh, black ball instead. This is one that would be, I should turn down the shaker intensity on because it's, when it's going like this, it's pretty intense. So now that first reactor is right up there, work towards the 9 destroy. Pinup Popper comes back now. Needs to be restarted, it seems. Doesn't happen that often, but of course it would happen when I'm going in and out of games a lot, I guess. So then escape brings you to like the shutdown menu, so it's the same launch button and add coin to get here, and you can restart the machine or just shut it down when I'm done with it. Once the computer powers off, that shuts off that power LED, which shuts off the IoT relay, which shuts off the power to everything else. Anyways, I hope that gives you some ideas on interesting ways to mod your cabinet. This screen is plugged directly into the wall, so it just goes into power save mode, whereas the others go to that IoT relay. So, yeah, so hopefully it gives you some ideas, or gives you some ideas on some tables to try out on yours. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll try to remember as much info as I can. A lot of this I built over a year ago, so it's kind of a very organic process of doing things a little at a time. All right, take care.